Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmayi Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guruho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanatitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamsya Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabho Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Welcome.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
This is our second session on chapter 5 and we're going to cover today from verses 13 to 29 where Krishna is brilliantly describing and Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada is giving amazing purports to those verses about the characteristics and qualities of a self-realized person, a Krishna conscious person. I think you remember something about what we discussed previously in the last session. We got to understand Padmapatram Ivambhasa, about the mechanics of action and how a person who is in full knowledge, which Krishna has described in chapter 4, how he will act and how he will remain unattached by his akarma actions and navigate his way without entanglement in karma. He will very smartly act. The secret of action in this world, the expertise of action, yoga karma kaushalam. Yoga means how to perform action expertly so that you don't get stuck. You know, in Bengali there is a saying, maybe somebody here who knows Bengali knows, how to fish without getting wet. How to catch fish without getting wet. Fishes live in water and the fishermen fish. Here it's saying how to fish without getting wet. Same way, how to live in this world without getting implicated, without getting entangled in karma. That we saw. Krishna goes further to explain that person who is very smart at action, which means you're talking about work-life balance. This is the zenith of it that Krishna described. How to work in such a way that there is no question of seeking balance. You automatically remain above the work that you perform, in complete control of everything, by not getting attached to it, by doing without attachment as ordained by the Lord, as a service to the Lord. In this way, how to act. But what about such a person's internals? What is going inside him? Externally, he knows how to act and do everything. What about his inside? So Krishna is describing the city of 9 gates. Nava dware pure dehi. This body has got 9 holes, 9 exit points, entrances, or whatever you would say. It's called the city of 9 gates in which the soul resides. Very dramatically expressed here. It's called Navadware Pure Dehi. Nava means 9, Dware means passages, Puri means city. Navadware Pure Dehi. The body is a city of 9 gates. You know them: 2 nostrils, 2 ears, 1 mouth, genitals, anus, etc. You add up, it comes to 9. Krishna is saying, one who does this type of action, sarva karmani manasa sanyasyaste sukam vashi navadware pure dehi naiva kurvan nakarayan. Very interesting description. Krishna will take you deeper into the philosophy of understanding such a person who is a yogi, who resides inside this city of 9 gates as spirit soul, and knows everything that's happening outside and knows why it is happening. He has full knowledge. 4th chapter is transcendental knowledge. He has fully aware of who he is, what he is, where he is. Such a person, what makes him happy? You see, he has got his own happiness he generates. Means he's not dependent on anything external in this world. He generates his own happiness from inside out. This very interesting description given here. So Krishna is saying in this, that, okay, somebody can read it. Shyamala Venugopalji, would you like to read that? What's on the screen?
When the embodied living being controls his nature and mentally renounces all actions, he resides happily in the city of 9 gates, the material body, neither working nor causing work to be done.
Thank you, Shyamalaji. So I think you will be very interested in knowing the last portion of what Shyamalaji read now. Neither working nor causing work to be done. Actually, Krishna is pushing us into another level of understanding something very important that you will see him saying immediately now. Here in the purport later, Prabhupada says, the living entity in his conditioned stage identifies himself with the body, but when he identifies himself with the Lord within himself, he becomes just as free as the Lord even while in this body. Very interesting extract that Prabhupada has quoted this from Shvetashvatara Upanishad. But identifies himself with the Lord means not that he is the Lord. He knows that I am part and parcel of the Lord. And when he realizes this, he becomes as free as the Lord while in the body. Because understand, the super soul in this body is also residing along with you. God is inside your heart along with you. There are 2 people inside this body. One is you, one is Paramatma. Both are not same. Both are not same. So, but the Lord in the body is not entangled with the body, has not got material attachments. He is a free person. So if you identify yourself as part and parcel of Krishna, God, Mamaivamsa Jivaloke, and you act in that way as part and parcel of God, then you become as free as the Lord within the heart. Very interesting extract. I thought I should say this to you. Now comes the real meaning of what Krishna is saying. This is going to surprise all of you a little bit. Na kartritvam na karmani lokasya srajati prabhu na karma phala samyogam swabhavastu pravartate. Very interesting quote. Krishna is taking you into a different region, of a deeper region. Don't get confused, but try to understand this very well, because it's very interesting. It's an amazing statement Krishna is making. So Girish, Sunita, would you like to read that?
The embodied spirit, master of the city of his body, does not create activities, nor does he induce people to act, nor does he create the fruits of action. All this is enacted by the modes of material nature.
This is a little higher stage. Thank you, Sunita. This is a higher stage in understanding. Now Krishna is dropping a bomb. It's an actually you do nothing inside the body. You do nothing in the body. Out of your own free will, there is very less that you do. The embodied spirit, master of the city of his body, he thinks he is the master, does not create activities, nor does he induce people to act, nor does he create the fruits of action. All this is enacted by the modes of material nature. Swabhavastu pravartate. You know what we mention? Swabhava of somebody. In common parlance, we say, that's the nature of that fellow. He's like that. He'll act like that only. I can predict what he will do because that is his nature. Why are you able to predict and say that this is swabhava? Why? How is it that you can predict? Why? Because he's conditioned in a particular way. And he repeatedly does that. He's stuck in that cycle. And you can predict that I know what this fellow will do. In this situation, I know what he will do. In the same way, you can talk about yourself also. What I will do in this situation. Actually, we are predicting our conditioned response because we are used to it. Which means that you are not responding, but you're responding under certain conditions. Forced to respond under certain conditions. That's the meaning of swabhavastu pravartate. He will anyway act according to what is pushing him. What is pushing him? The three modes of material nature, sattva, rajas, and tamas, is pushing him, and he will act. And that becomes his swabhava, his own nature, acquired nature, conditioned nature. We will learn a lot more about this when we go up to 13th chapter, the three modes of material nature. Conditioning means you are forced to act. You can't act out of your free will, although you think that you're acting out of your free will. You are forced to act, and therefore your action can be predicted. That's called swabhava. Your conditioned material nature is called swabhava. It's not your original nature. Right? Now we are not talking about this person who is conditioned. Krishna is describing the person who is not conditioned but situated in this body. That's what is interesting. Normally, people are like this. Na kartrutvam na karmani. They claim to have done something, whereas actually they did not do it. They'll take credit and enjoy the fruits of the action, whereas actually they did not produce the fruits. Krishna is saying, why? It's material nature that does it. In other words, the spirit soul, conditioned spirit soul in this body is asleep. Spiritually asleep. But materially, he is utilized by material nature, forced to do things in a particular way, and he listens and he has to do, and he does. And he does. But this does not mean that 100% he is asleep. He is dull awakening is there. You can feel this sometimes. Helplessly you do certain things, but you know I should not do that, but you do it. Have you seen it? Have you experienced it or not? You will see that it's happening to you. And you'll be wondering why like that. But your spiritual aspect dimension is very weak. But actually, you're being forced to do, you can realize at that time. You remember Arjuna asked this question earlier. Atakena prayuktoyam papam charati purusha anicham api varshneya baladiva niyojita. By force, I am pushed to do certain things. Arjuna said, why? And Krishna answered, Kama esha krodha esha rajoguna samadbhava. It is lust. You remember that? It is lust. So lust is another component. But material modes of nature is the general overall component. You will see that you are under the powerful control of material forces. And things happen to you and you are forced to do things. And then if it is nice, you take credit for it. If it is bad, you blame somebody else for it. Don't you do this? If it is something bad that happens, you blame the sky, the Prime Minister of India, the Chief Minister, your mother, father, the next door neighbor, but never yourself. And if it is good, immediately only me, nobody else is involved in it. If something good comes out of your action, you will say, it's me, I did it, I should get the credit. But actually in both these situations, Krishna is saying, you didn't do it. It's your karma in operation and you're getting the fruit. What you may get sometimes some fruit to enjoy, you may not get. Both are karma. But you are not the doer. You are forced to do. Just imagine this. Nobody likes to hear this. Everybody likes to think, I am the doer, I did it. Ahankara vimudhatma kartaham iti manyate. The foolish, puffed up soul thinks he is the doer. You read this also in the 3rd chapter. Right? So this is a little difficult to digest. Because what do you mean? I am free now. I can get up now and I can walk. You mean to say that I am not doing it? I can slap the next door neighbor right now or the person sitting next to me. Can you stop me? How can you say that I did not do it? What I'm going to say is, you won't slap him now. And you may slap him in anger. And that again is predicted that you will get angry and you will slap. Many things are a combination of your free will and the forces of material nature which act according to your karma. Right? When you're unconscious about yourself, it is the karma that takes place. When you become conscious about yourself and your free will, you control your mind and everything and act out of proper understanding. Both these things happen, but normally you will do the conditioned response only. Swabhavastu pravartate. When you become Krishna conscious, increasingly you will stop acting out of the pushings, but you'll act out of proper response. It's called proactive response. In psychology, you'll say it is proactively doing things. Reactively doing things means acting according to the modes of material nature. It will be predicted that you will react like this and you will do this. Proactive means you'll restrain yourself from reacting and you'll make a choice in between the stimulus and response. You're getting stimulated to respond by situations and circumstances, and the modes push you inside the mind. But then you decide to control yourself and think about it, deliberate on it. That is when you're acting spiritually. And that occurs very rarely to you. Mostly you will have conditioned response. That is what's the meaning of swabhavastu pravartate. Mostly people will act according to their swabhava. That is predictable. That is what can be read in your astrology chart. I can tell this fellow will act like this because Shani is in this house and this is in this house. He will get that type of influence and he will act. And because most people are conditioned souls, you can very easily predict what he will do from his chart. But if you're a devotee, a Krishna conscious devotee, the horoscope will not always work. It may bob a little bit here and there. But a devotee who has read Bhagavad Gita will start exercising his free will. Then life becomes a combination of free will and your karma. You restrain yourself from certain things and you start rewriting the program. That is the type of person that Krishna is describing now, that akarma person. It decides not to do karma, not to do vikarma, but do akarma. This means I am in charge of myself. I am in control of my faculties and my body, mind, and intelligence. I know what to do and I will do that. I am not a weak person being pushed by material nature and the three modes. Just think about this. We will talk more about this. But this is the way the material nature is arranged. And Krishna is here talking about a person who has full knowledge about the arrangement and acts accordingly, smartly. What is the internal makeup of such a person? Krishna is discussing here. Okay? Prabhupada is saying here, I brought this quote of Prabhupada for you. When the living entity is bewildered in his desires, the Lord allows him to fulfill those desires, but the Lord is never responsible for the actions and reactions of the particular situation which may be desired. This is Krishna's statement you will see in the next shloka. I have not put it up for you because I thought some of it I would like to read with you and ask you to open the book. These are very brilliant purports that Prabhupada gives. In text 15, this is a quote from there. Na adatte kasichit papam na chaiva sukritam vibhuhu ajnanena vritam jnanam tena muhyanti jantavaha. Nor does the Supreme Lord assume anyone sinful or pious activities. Embodied beings, however, are bewildered because of the ignorance which covers their real knowledge. Embodied beings, conditioned souls, their real knowledge is covered by ignorance. Therefore, they think that God has to be blamed for whatever happens to me. But here, Krishna is making it very clear. That fellow sitting in the city of 9 gates has a lot of desires. Not all the desires will come to fruition. Only according to his karma, some will be sanctioned, some will not be sanctioned. And he gets bewildered by his desires, the soul. Some of those desires the Lord allows him to fulfill. And that does not mean the Lord is doing it and he is responsible. He is only making it possible for you to execute your desire. So therefore, he doesn't take responsibility. Like I said, if you want to get up and slap your neighbor, that is your decision. The Lord makes it possible for you to do it because he is the control of material nature and your body, your mind, everything is under that control. So he makes it possible for you to slap the person. But if that other person catches hold of you and slaps you back and pounds you to death, almost, you can't say, see what God did to me. No, the result of those actions is what you desired is happening to you. Krishna, God is not responsible for that. God created facility for you to execute your desire, but the result of those desire actions that you executed is not to be blamed on God. It's to be blamed on yourself. Okay, this seems pretty fair, no? Yes or no? It is just that you don't know the role of the super soul. The super soul in the heart, Upadrashta, Anumanta, Bharta, Bhokta, Maheshwara, Paramatmeti, Chapiyukto, Dehe Asmin Purusha Paraha. That Parapurusha, the Supreme Lord, is situated in the heart as Paramatma. Paramatmeti, Chapiyukto. And what is his role there? Upadrashta, Anumanta. Bharta, Bhokta, Maheshwara. Bhokta means enjoyment. Bharta means maintainer. He has to maintain the soul according to the karma, the super soul in the heart, sitting along with the soul. Upadrashta Anumanta. Upadrashta means he sees everything that you do. everything that you want to do. Anumanta means he allows it. He sanctions certain things and does not sanction certain things according to your karma. Okay? But that does not mean he is responsible for what it is. If I give you money and if you spend it for drinking in the bar and coming and beating up your wife to pulp and she's admitted in the hospital, can you say that because I gave you money, you did it? No, I gave you money and the way you used it, that is up to you. That is up to you. And you have to suffer the reaction for that. I can use this argument, isn't it? I gave you money because you asked me, you're hungry, you don't have anything. And I gave it to you. So now you can't blame me for how you utilize it. So I gave you a facility to get your desires satisfied. But if you do it in a particular way and the reactions come to it, I am not responsible. Okay? This is fair enough. I think it's pretty fair what Krishna is saying. Then Krishna goes ahead and says, then there is this person who sees everybody correctly. In the city of 9 gates, he is also sitting inside, but he is a smart actor. How does his vision differ from the conditioned soul? Conditioned soul sees enemy, friends, dualities, good, bad, that, this, I like, I don't like. He sees all these things and gets embroiled. But this smart soul, who is highly proactive and who is fully spiritually situated, he is awakened spiritually. How does he see? That's very interesting. Vidya vinaya sampanne brahmane gavihastini shuni chaiva shwapakecha pandita samadarshinaha. Please read. Can somebody read that? Who likes to read that? Sandhya, Natarajan, Doctor, can you please read that?
The humble sages, by virtue of true knowledge, see with equal vision a learned and a gentle Brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog-eater, an outcast.
Okay, thank you, Sandhya ji.
Hare Krishna,
Right.
Maharaj.
So look at this vision. What does it say here? It says Pandita Samadarshana. Pandita Samadarshana. He is considered to be a learned person who is able to see with equal vision the Atma situated in different bodies. In other words, he doesn't see the bodies. If you're really educated and learned, you should be a Samadarshi. Equal vision. What does equal vision mean? You see the Atma. Atma is same everywhere. Where? Brahmana, inside the Brahmana, Gavi, Hastini. Hastini means elephant, Gavi means cow. Shunichaiva Swapakecha, in the Shudra, the hunter you see there with the knife and the stick. In everybody, he sees the same spirit soul. They are just in different bodies according to their karmas and according to their material situations. But actually, all of them are part and parcels of Krishna, spirit souls. Such a person is really learned. Such a person is really learned. Only if you are really learned, can you see with this vision. Now you understand, all the great rulers and kings are supposed to have this type of a vision. That's what Krishna said in the 4th chapter. Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo viduhu. Raja rishis, the great rulers, were not just Raja, they were also Rishi combined. Raja Rishi you have to be a leader. You cannot be only occupying the post. You have to be very learned and educated, then only you can govern people and lead them. You have to see everybody equally struggling inside their material situations, but belonging originally to the Supreme Lord, lacking spiritual knowledge, lacking spiritual guidance, they are suffering. And you have to be able to lead them. Only such a person is a real leader. Leader does not mean teaching you how to bypass the rules of the government, make money like this, how to get tax laws, bypassed like this, and how to make money this way, that way, how to get grant from here, how to take loan from the bank, and how to be a great exploiter of material nature and wealth, and how to... This is not leader. This is a person who is sinking you deeper into matter. He's leading you to hell. But the real leader is person who will understand that, okay, this soul is stuck in this conditioning. How will I take him out of this? And he never gets bothered about what that soul is doing to him. Being a hunter, or being a brahmana, or being an elephant, or being a cow. Each one of them will respond according to swabhavastu pravartate, because he's a conditioned soul. But this person, vidya vinaya sampanne, will look at all of them stuck in different material situations, and he'll try to help them out. Whatever they do to him materially, he'll neglect it, because that is done in ignorance. Why should I respond ignorantly to that? Then I'll become equal to them. I should actually help this fellow out of this situation, because he does not know. That soul is suffering inside this body in ignorance. Ajnanaina vritam jnanam tena mukyanti jantavaha. See, that shloka says that in 15. Tena muhyanti, is completely bewildered in that situation. So if I, who has knowledge, also sits and fights with him, beats him up for doing something, what is the difference between me and him? Right? So, a real leader is one who goes beyond material designations, material labels and titles, and addresses the person inside the body as spirit soul and caters to his real need. And that can only be done by a person who is himself out of the bodily concept of life. Just think of Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who has been told by his guru, there are millions of people in the Western world who don't know this knowledge of the Gita and are suffering, thinking that they are very great people, advanced and enjoying, they think, but they're actually suffering. You must go there and you must teach them this in their language, in English. And Prabhupada sets ahead when he's 70 years old on a ship, 2 heart attacks. He goes there in 1 year, he gets a stroke also, gets paralyzed on the left side. And while he is paralyzed and being taken to the hospital, he tells Michael Grant, who became Mukunda Goswami later, he tells him, see, you cannot trust this body. This body is a material machine. As he's going to the hospital, he's telling, and that man is wondering, my gosh, what is he talking? He's got a stroke. He's talking Bhagavad Gita. He's just beyond the body. He's saying, see, you can't judge the body. You can't depend on this body. But you should never limit yourself to the body. You are beyond the body. You must use your body for Krishna's service, not be used by material nature through your body. He told him this and he was very stunned. He wrote it down in his biography. I was wondering, this monk from India is talking to me when he had a stroke. Others will be shivering, not knowing what, running to us. Maybe I'm going to die. He is speaking Bhagavad Gita. You are not the body. This has happened only to my body. Don't worry, I'm still beyond the body. They were very shocked. And then he recovered from it. And the doc said, this man will recover from any disease of the body. He has got the mental capacity to do so. And Prabhupada was like that. Anything, he was moving around. He was 80 years old. He was in Kumbh Mela, India, with all of the devotees from America and everybody to show what India is. Come and see the various type of sadhus who will come here. I want to take you and show you how Krishna consciousness and Krishna's instruction, Bhagavad Gita, is supreme. You see what a big industry it is in India, that holy men are there of all sorts. And when he took them, he had a swollen jaw and he had a swollen leg and he has pus oozing from some this thing. And he was walking in the cold early morning and it was 4 degrees centigrade and telling them, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, and he's taking a cold water bath in the morning. He was completely out of his body. Many, many instances you see that he was absorbed in Krishna and serving Krishna. With whatever situation I am in, I will do my best for Krishna consciousness. So this is an example of a person, Pandita Samadar. He did not say you're American, you're Australian, you're African, what do you know? He did not say anything like that to anybody. He went to Africa, he went to America, he went to South America, he went to Fiji, he went to Mauritius, he went to, name it, Japan, he went to Russia. And to all of them, he said, you're all wonderful souls belonging to Krishna. Don't think you're Russian, don't think you're American. You're not. That is a bodily concept of life. You are a spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna. Read the Bhagavad Gita. And he published the Gita in their language and gave them this information. This is the meaning of equal vision. There is no caste, there is no creed, there is no gender, nothing he looked into. This soul is inside a woman's body, this soul is inside a man's body, this soul is inside a cow's body. You know, there is a conversation of Prabhupada taking a cockroach from his room in India somewhere, where he was staying in some ashram. And his servant saw with 2 sticks, he took the cockroach and said, open the window. And he told the cockroach, go, enjoy. And he threw him out. The cockroach flew and landed on the wall. And the devotee said, Hari bol, Prabhupada, he got your blessing. He will not be a cockroach anymore. And Prabhupada smiled at him. He did not even harm a small insect, Prabhupada. He respected this. There's another spirit soul in another condition. If I can do something for him, I'll be happy. So he would, feed. There was a cat which was come and Prabhupada would, it will come and sit on Prabhupada's feet. And Prabhupada will twirl it with their feet. And the devotees would say, I wish I was there, like the cat, to be able to get Prabhupada's mercy and hold his lotus feet. So Prabhupada would bless the cat and he'll say, give him some prasadam. And he'll give some cookie, something to the cat, some milk, some cookie to the cat. We treat every soul with respect and honor. At the same time, how he dealt with monkeys in Vrindavana is very nice. The monkeys in Vrindavan, if anybody knows about Vrindavan, Vrindavan is full of monkeys. And the monkeys, every time I go, they take away my spectacles. I take my spectacles, put in the pocket. When you go on parikrama, they'll tell you, chasma, chasma nikalo, chasma. They'll tell you, everybody, you've forgotten to take out your chasma. And I remember once I lost my chashma and this thing really chewed it up on the top of the wall and I was crying. And then when Swamiji came and said, Aap Vrindavan dekhte ho chashma ke andar se? He said, you think you'll be able to see Vrindavan through your spectacles? Why did you wear spectacles? He was chastising me and said, Tum Vrindavan dekhna chahte ho? Tumhara chashma ke andar se. He said, you think you will see Vrindavan with your spectacles? We told you all along, don't put your spectacles, the monkeys will take it. And then he told his boy, hey, nikal ke do. And that fellow bought some bananas. I gave him 5 rupees, 10 rupees. He bought some bananas and he went behind the monkey with a stick. And he threw it on the monkey and said, chick, 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 something he said that threw the spectacles and took the banana. He had a way of getting it. Then he said, keep it, your spectacles. It's all chewed up and twisted like this. But Prabhupada, what he did in his room, his servants were there. And then the monkey came inside and took away his, something that he had kept. I think his bowl of something. So Prabhupada immediately took his walking stick and crouched in front of this Western disciples. They were very afraid. What is he doing? And he said, leave it, I'll do it. And then the monkey was sitting still on the balcony. Prabhupada crouched with the stick and tapped with the stick and threw the banana. Little by little, he crouched closer. They were wondering, what is he doing? And then that thing threw the thing and took the banana. And then he beat this thing and it ran away. And he shut the door and said, don't open the door. Monkeys will come inside and take everything. You don't know. Because they tried to do it with the monkey and the monkey took another thing also and went. So when Prabhupada was dealing with the monkey, he was dealing in a different way. He was dealing with the monkey, come on, put this down. He was very angry with the monkey. And he made the monkey put it down. But all the time, he told devotees, never think lowly of these monkeys or pigs in Vrindavana. They're all Vrindavan Vasis who have committed offense. Krishna has given them chance to be born in animals' bodies and finish that offense. So they are actually devotees, otherwise they won't be born in Vrindavana. Handle them carefully. Do not do anything to them. So you see the devotees, the pure devotees' vision, very clear. When Prabhupada, for building the temple in Vrindavan, they cut off a big tree in the compound. Prabhupada became furious and shouted at them and said, you have no brain, you Western people, everything cut and throw, cut and throw. He got very shaky, his hands were shaking. Do you know that every tree in Vrindavan is a great personality? Every tree is a great soul. You have cut and thrown that tree. What do you think? They were completely shocked. For the first time, they were saying that you can't touch a tree in Vrindavan. It's Krishna's place. All these trees are spirit souls. They are born in Vrindavan. And a completely new picture came in their minds. So devotee sees all living entities with great respect, even a tree, a monkey, a pussycat, a cockroach, an ant. So that level of understanding and execution is what is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. That's a type of an exalted soul that you can become by reading Bhagavad Gita. Then what to speak of material nature and other living entities and your siblings, how well you will treat them. Naturally, you will not have climate change, you will not have coronavirus, not because you know the proper vision. They are all part and parcels of Krishna like you and me. You have to give them equal respect. You can't catch the cow and slaughter it and eat it. You can't catch the goat and eat it actually. You cannot. Only under special circumstances you can do. You have to pay respect to every soul in every body. So that is mentioned here by Prabhupada, that if you fail to respect and if you commit sinful activity, then your progress will be delayed. It's like pressing the brakes and the accelerator together. In the human form of life, we should be free from sin. For that, you must have knowledge what is sin and what is not sin, how to act and how to not act. Kim karmeti, kim akarmeti, kavyopyatra mohita. So this is an example of a person who knows what to do, what not to do. And he sees Krishna everywhere. He sees the super soul in the heart of the elephant, residing there and guiding the elephant. He sees the super soul sitting in the heart of the hunter and satisfying his desires to hunt, kill animals and eat it. That same super soul is sitting also in the heart of the Brahmana who is paying namaskar to the seer. He knows that Brahmana, from there also he is seeing super soul is satisfying the Brahmana's desire to know more about him. Also, all of them he sees, all of them are guided by the super soul. This vision is what is equal vision. Not saying that men and women are equal. Simply on the bodily platform, they can never be equal. Equality is a deep subject. Equality is not based on gender equality, caste equality, no rich and poor. That's all material things. Those differences are going to be there in this world. It is futile to make a Plato of all these material differences. It's foolishness. It will never become equal. But if you develop the proper understanding, then you can see equality in a different way and treat people spiritually equal. This is a very important subject matter, which material life, materialists are trying to make everybody equal on the material platform. But they continue to be, there are differences, they continue to be differences. Because people are born with differences materially. That is the meaning of material life. That's the meaning of material life. So Chanakya Pandit also is known to say that matravat paradareshu paradravyeshu loshtravat atmavat sarvabhuteshu yapashyati sapandita. It's moralist Chanakya Pandit saying, atmavat, he's saying that matra sarvadare, other people's wives, one who sees them as his mother, matravat paradareshu, dara means wife, one who sees other people's wives as his mother, matravat paradareshu paradravyeshu loshtravat, things belonging to somebody else, he just completely sets it aside. Loshtravat means he hates to possess it because it already belongs to somebody else. Atmavat sarva bhuteshu, he sees Atma in every body. Yapashyati sapandita, a person who is able to see like this, he is an educated, learned person. He is an educated, learned person. Something similar Chanakya Pandit has said. Of course, he must have read the Bhagavad Gita also. He is speaking moral stuff. But here Krishna is connecting it with, that his equal vision is connected with seeing me everywhere as super soul. Isn't it very interesting? It's very, very deep. This is the meaning of a devotee, right? So you'll see Prabhupada saying, Paramatma is present in each and every body. A Krishna conscious person has full knowledge of this, and therefore he is truly learned and has equal vision. So equal vision is not easy to acquire. Artificial equal vision based on trying to equalize material differences is a fool's paradise, actually. You can do it to some extent. You want to be good to people and this thing. You can be charitable, but you can't like make the other person equal to you materially. You can be charitable. There are other ways of doing things. When somebody is in bad karma, there are other ways of doing things. But seeing people spiritually equal, that is a learned person. Okay? So Krishna describes here this type of knowledge destroys nescience, means destroys ignorance, liberates the person, it provides true learning for equal vision, and it's a vision of equanimity through the self-realization. Because I realize that I am spirit soul, and because I realize Krishna is in my heart as Paramatma, and because I realize in others' heart also he is like that, I can see equally. Otherwise, it's very difficult to see equally in this world. People simply talk all this great equality stuff. Okay? Then you will see Krishna describes the characteristics of such a person in many different ways. And we will recollect that. I'm not able to get into all this immediately, but I presume that you would have read some of the shlokas. I want to pick on this one. Yahi samparshaja bhoga dukkayonaya evate adyantavantah kaunteya nateshu ramate buddha. And in, please read that. Go ahead, Sharanya, please read that.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. An intelligent person does not take part in the sources of misery which are due to contact with the material senses. O son of Kunti, such pleasures have a beginning and an end, and so the wise man does not delight in them.
Yeah. So Krishna is also saying that this wise person I'm talking about, he can see misery in sensual enjoyment. He's saying that is simply creating problem for the soul. When the sense object and the senses contact each other and the senses try to enjoy the sense objects, he says it's a miserable thing for the soul. Actually, there is no enjoyment in this world in matter. It's a false feeling. And he is able to see it very clearly. Adya antavanta hi kaunteya. From beginning to end, it is misery. It's only an illusion that you're enjoying. That's why you repeatedly go and think you're enjoying and repeatedly do certain things which are futile. And the Atma still remains dissatisfied. Dushpurena analena cha. Just you saw it in 3rd chapter. Like pouring fuel in a fire, it burns and burns and burns more and more. The more you gratify yourself sensually, the more the flame of lust will come off. It can never satisfy it. So at no point will you remain satisfied with material sense enjoyment. In fact, you'll be more and more miserable. So he's saying that smart guy, the self-realized person, stays away from it. Because it'll just take you down and plummeting depths of dissatisfaction. I'll stay away from it. Buddha means intelligent, buddhi. Na teshu ramate Buddha. Intelligent persons don't revel in that. They save their time and energy and put them in self-enjoyment. That's very intelligent. What does that person do? Text 24. Very nice. Open up text 24. Yo antasuko antararamas tatantar jyotire vayah sa yogi brahma nirvanam brahma bhuto digacchati. So please read text 24's translation. Sundarji. Sundar, I think you have the book in front of you. Please read translation for text 24. Are you able to hear me, Sundar?
Yeah, Hare Krishna Maharaj, can you hear me?
Yeah, please read.
Yeah. One whose happiness is within, who is active and rejoices within, and whose aim is inward, is actually the perfect mystic. He is liberated in the Supreme and ultimately he attains the Supreme. Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you. His happiness is within. Yo antah sukho antara arama. So see, these things are facts. Here Krishna is saying the enjoyment inside is much, 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 much greater than what you're getting through this body, through the senses and the sense objects. So this we must understand. We are hardwired to enjoy life through this body and the senses and the sense objects. But really, that's not enjoyment. But we're addicted to that enjoyment. We get pushed towards it. We desire it. We entangle ourselves in it. And more karma comes out of it. But the trick is to enjoy inside and not depend on the outside for enjoyment. The Atma is capable of generating its own happiness by reveling in the spiritual realm and not depending on this body with this dead matter and dead material substances to get its enjoyment. Vibrant spiritual exercise of the Atma gives 1 billion times greater enjoyment. That is explained in the Upanishads. The soul is described as so many 1,000 times more brilliant than the sun, and with the capacity to enjoy far, far greater. That's a description of the soul. But none of those great potencies you see now in the conditioned state. Right now, while you're listening, you're bothered about your child, you're bothered about your salary, you're bothered about that fellow cheating you, you're bothered about this problem, that problem, this. Your consciousness is really low on the level of the body. right? We are made to suffer because of thinking I am this body and my enjoyment comes out of this body, mind, and everything. But if you discover the self, you have an enjoyment exclusive to you, inside you, which nobody else outside can even know, right? And they need not know. You don't bother about them knowing or not, because you're not dependent on them recognizing your enjoyment. In the material world, mostly your enjoyment comes out of other people noticing that I am enjoying and I'm happy. Most 90% is they must acknowledge the fact that I am enjoying. Right? Then only I get greater enjoyment. It's a dependent enjoyment, it's dependent on other people's judgment of me. Of course, some amount of it is also your own enjoyment, senses. But the point about here is, for a antar sukha antar arama, he doesn't care whether you think I enjoy or not. What does it matter to me? My enjoyment is not dependent on your acknowledgement of it. I am in association with the Lord, getting immense enjoyment. That's what is mentioned here. One whose happiness is with him, it speaks about, and ultimately he attains the supreme. Okay, so this is something that I thought you should know. And therefore, here is a summarization, and all these shlokas you can read. Symptoms of a self-realized person who's liberated in the supreme and still hanging around in this world, moving around, and nothing affects him. He is not illusioned by false bodily identification. He enjoys unlimited happiness within. You may not know about it. Not interested in temporary sensory pleasures or pain. He controls his senses and mind very nicely. He aims inward to attain the supreme. His activities are all inside. He's beyond dualities, working for the welfare of all. He's able to work for the welfare of all because he doesn't see them materially. There's no problems, even if they do something this way, that way. Constantly, he endeavors for becoming perfect in akarmic activities. He is not angry. He is not afraid. He doesn't have all the silly desires. He is focusing on Krishna, the Supreme, and is absorbed. These are the characteristics described about a self-realized person, a Krishna conscious person who acts in karma yoga, action in Krishna consciousness. I'm summarizing it for you here. So Krishna finishes this chapter by saying, capping everything together so that you may not think something else. You have to be connected with Krishna to be happy. Bhoktaram yajñatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram sukhridam sarva bhutanam gyatva mam shantim richati. I've taken this many times for you in Sunday classes and others. Some of you are attending. It's a famous shloka. I'll ask Parag Fal Desai to read this translation. Parag Fal Desai ji, will you like to read this translation? Oh, looks like you're not able to be. Okay, here, Divya R, would you like to read this translation?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, can I read?
Yeah, please read.
A person is full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and ecstasies, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material miseries.
Okay,
Hare
thank
Krishna.
you. Thank you, Chitraji. Prabhupada called this the peace formula. You will see in the purport. And three things. We should know Krishna is the supreme enjoyer, the supreme proprietor, supreme well-wisher. These are three key aspects in the shloka. So that brings us to the end of the 5th chapter. Hare Krishna. Good night. Hare Krishna.